If you are focused on the NVC language and the technique, there's a risk that you might lose connection. It's likely that you are in a place of ideas and concept, and it might be that you come across to others that you use a formula because you are focused on the solution, for example an action request. When I first began learning nonviolent communication, I was tempted to use the 4 ingredients O, F and R, observation, feeling, needs and request. This is the formula of the process, so I express myself in this way. After some time, friends around me started to refer to Gesines language. I noticed that I felt uncomfortable because I wasn't aware that I was using a different language. So another example, during one conversation with my son, he directly said to me, "Don't talk to me in your psychological jargon." Oh, I thought, oh, this is valuable feedback. My intention in using NVC was to connect more deeply with the people around me. Yet, it seemed to have the opposite effect on my relationships. So how could it happen that I lost connection despite my attempt to care for the connection? How can I use the language of NVC with authenticity and integrity in a way that sounds more natural? What could I have done differently to support connection? Hello, my name is Gesine and welcome to NVC Life Hacks. Let's take a deeper look. Marshall Rosenberg, the founder of Nonviolent Communication, used the term Street Giraffe to clarify that he was expressing NVC informally and adapting his words to the context in which he found himself. For example, Marshall Rosenberg used to work with street gangs, and to be sure that he was received after he expressed himself, he made a connection request. And instead of saying, "Would you be willing to say what you have heard?" he said, "Can you roll it back to me?" I found it extremely helpful to understand the difference between classical giraffe and street giraffe, which means knowing when and where to use the 4 ingredients, O, F and R, or express myself in a colloquial language. It took a while of practicing and integrating NVC before I could express myself without using O, F and R and still holding NVC consciousness. So here's an example to make the difference clear between classical giraffe and street giraffe. So I invite you to imagine that you come home from work and there are shoes and jackets on the floor in the hall. So what can you say? And here's an idea how you could say it in classical giraffe. "Sam, when I see shoes and jackets on the floor, I feel frustrated because order and honoring agreements is important to me. Would you be willing to put your clothes and shoes back in the wardrobe before you go to bed?" Here is street giraffe. "Sam, do you have space to talk about the clothes and the shoes on the floor in the hall? I noticed some discomfort when I came home and I saw the shoes and the jackets." If there is mutual understanding of NVC, classical giraffe can help you to express clearly and directly what's in your heart and can be received from the other person with understanding. Here's an example. When you told me that you will come later than our agreed time, also much later, I feel disappointed as I was longing for care and consideration. Next time, could you let me know 1 day in advance when things change rather than 2 hours before? So if someone is not familiar with NVC language, you could check with them before practicing your NVC with them, so they can make an informed choice. Here's an example. I would like to speak honestly and use a language that will hopefully support connection and enable you to be heard and to be understood. Is that okay with you? If there is no agreement, use Street Giraffe, a language from the heart rooted in NVC consciousness, without focusing on the NVC technique. For example, you could ask yourself, what could I say or do in the moment that will support both of us? Here are my 4 top tips for speaking in Street Giraffe. Number 1, check that your intention is connection. Number 2, let go of perfection. Speak from your heart. Number 3, describe in your own words what is important to you. And number 4, be authentic. Authenticity comes before words. That's it for now. Was this helpful? If you would like to know more, you find us on our YouTube channel, Instagram or Facebook page, join our mailer list or come to one of our events.